My name is Edgar Allan Poe. I'm 21, and this is the story I wish I'd never lived to tell. It started on a Friday evening in late October. My parents had left for the weekend, an anniversary trip to the mountains. I insisted I'd be fine alone. After all, I was old enough, and our neighborhood was safe, tucked away in a quiet cul-de-sac. The kind of place where neighbors smiled as they watered their lawns and kids rode bikes until the streetlights flickered on. I thought I'd enjoy the peace. No one barging into my room, no mom asking if I'd eaten, no dad yelling at the TV, just me, a frozen pizza, and the new season of some crime show I'd been meaning to binge. But peace doesn't always mean safety. Around 8 p.m., I curled up on the couch with a blanket, scrolling on my phone as the oven timer ticked down. The house felt too quiet, even with the TV humming softly. I tried to shake it off. Maybe I wasn't used to the creaks of the house without my parents moving around. Then came the first knock. It wasn't loud, more like the sound of knuckles brushing the glass of the back door. I froze. Nobody ever came through the back. Delivery guys always used the front porch. I muted the TV and held my breath. Silence. I almost laughed at myself. Probably the wind, I thought, even though the night was still. I went to check the oven. Pizza nearly ready. And when I turned back toward the sliding glass doors, I swear my stomach dropped. The porch light had flickered on. It's one of those motion sensor lights my dad installed. Normally it only triggers if someone steps close. But outside, there was nothing. No raccoon, no falling leaves, just empty patio furniture glowing under the light. I told myself it was a glitch. Lights do that, right? But the weirdness didn't stop there. By 10 p.m., I had eaten and was scrolling TikTok. The kind of mindless scrolling where time slips away. That's when my phone buzzed with a text notification from unknown number. Unknowns, are you comfortable, Emily? My blood turned cold. I stared at the screen, my reflection warped in the black glass. I didn't reply. Seconds later, another buzz. Unknown, don't ignore me. I see you in the red blanket. The blanket, the one wrapped tight around my shoulders. My heart pounded so hard it drowned out everything else. I jumped up and yanked the curtains closed over the living room windows. Okay, relax, I whispered to myself. It's a prank. It has to be a prank. I checked the locks on the doors, the windows, even the garage entrance. Then I went to my room upstairs, shutting myself in. I told myself I wouldn't look at my phone again, but curiosity kills faster than fear. At 10:47 p.m., another text came through. Unknown, upstairs now. Second window from the left. I nearly dropped the phone. My room was the second window from the left. I ran to the switch and killed the lights, heart racing so fast I thought I'd pass out. In the reflection of the dark glass, I half expected to see a face staring back. But outside, just the night, black, endless. I sat in the corner of my bed, clutching my phone like it was a weapon. Minutes stretched into hours. No more texts came. Eventually, exhaustion dragged me into a restless sleep. I woke to the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate, inside the house. I held my breath so hard my chest ached. Each step echoed through the floorboards, moving from the kitchen to the hallway, pausing near the bottom of the stairs. My throat tightened. Mom, Dad, my voice cracked, betraying me. No answer. The steps began climbing. I gripped my phone, thumb shaking over the keypad, ready to call 911. But the second I unlocked the screen, a new text appeared. Unknown, Shah, you'll wake them. My blood froze. My heart told me to run, but my legs wouldn't move, and then silence. No more steps, no more sounds, just that suffocating silence pressing in from every wall. I don't know how long I sat there, tears burning my eyes, staring at my door and waiting for it to open. But it never did. The house stayed still until dawn. When the morning light finally broke through my blinds, it almost felt like I had imagined everything. The texts, the footsteps, the whispers of the night. Almost, because when I finally crept downstairs, there were muddy footprints across the kitchen floor. leading from the back door to the stairs, and the back door, it was unlocked. I stood frozen in the kitchen doorway, staring at the trail of muddy footprints. The morning sunlight made them look almost ordinary, like a neighbor's kid had wandered in after playing outside. But deep down, I knew better. My dad always double-checked the locks, always. And I remembered turning the key myself before heading to bed. The prints were large, too large. I grabbed a towel and wiped them up before my parents could ever see them. Part of me wanted to call and beg them to come home, but I knew how it would sound. Mom, Dad, I think someone texted me last night and left muddy footprints in the house. They'd chalk it up to nerves, to me being too old to still be scared of staying alone. So I lied to myself. Maybe I just forgot to lock up. Maybe I dropped dirt after taking the trash out. Denial is easier than facing the truth. That evening, I locked every door and window twice. I even slid a chair under the doorknob to my room upstairs. My pizza box from last night still sat in the trash, the cheese smell faint in the air, but I wasn't hungry. My stomach was knotted too tight. I put on another show and tried to drown myself in fake crime instead of real fear. But around 9:30, the house betrayed me again. The power cut out, the TV went black, the hum of the fridge died, and every light in the house blinked into nothingness. The silence after the sudden dark felt like a scream muffled beneath a pillow. I scrambled for my phone, using its glow as a torch. My first instinct was the breaker box in the basement, but the thought of going down there alone made my skin crawl. Then came the vibration in my hand. Another text. Unknown, scared of the dark, Emily. My throat closed. My fingers trembled so badly I almost dropped the phone. I texted back for the first time. Me, who are you? Unknown, you already know. You've seen me. I stared at those words until the letters blurred. Seen him. When? Where? Another buzz. Look outside. No, hell no. But against every shred of logic, I crept toward the living room window. My heart hammered as I pulled the curtain back with shaking fingers. The porch light flicked on, and in that pale glow, just beyond the glass, stood a figure. Tall, still, head tilted slightly like he was studying me. I screamed and stumbled back, my phone clattering to the floor. By the time I dared to look again, the porch was empty. I called 911 with shaking hands. The operator's voice was calm, detached, asking me to describe what I saw. A patrol car arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers walked through the house, checked the locks, even shone their flashlights outside. Probably a prank. One of them said with a weary smile, "Halloween's around the corner. Kids do this all the time. Kids, don't text me that they're watching." I shot back, my voice cracking. The officers exchanged a glance. "Change your number. Don't answer unknown texts. Keep your doors locked." And then they left, just like that. Their taillights disappeared down the street, and the silence returned. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the house settling sent me bolt upright. At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed again. I nearly threw it across the room. Unknown, they won't help you. They never do. I wanted to smash the phone, to rip it apart, but fear glued me in place. My hands were clammy, trembling, but I forced myself to text back. "What do you want from me?" "Unknown, you'll see." I couldn't take it anymore. I shoved the phone in my drawer, buried it under clothes, and tried to shut my eyes. Sleep didn't come. Only the faint sound of scratching, like fingernails lightly dragging down wood. From the hallway, I sat up, every nerve lit on fire. The scratching moved slowly, methodically, closer to my door. I pressed my ear against the wood. My lungs burned as I held my breath. And then 3 knocks, soft, deliberate. Knock, knock. I wanted to scream, but my throat locked shut. Instead, I slid back into bed, curling under the blanket like a child, tears streaking my face. I clutched my pillow and waited, praying that the knocks would stop, that I'd wake up and find it was a dream. But dreams don't leave shadows, because under the slit of my door, a shape appeared. 2 feet, motionless. standing there, waiting. The next thing I remember is sunlight burning through my window. I must have blacked out, my body too exhausted to keep fighting the terror. But when I crept to my door in the morning, heart hammering, I found something taped to it, a small Polaroid photo. It was me, sleeping in my bed. I stared at that Polaroid for what felt like hours. My hands shook so violently I nearly tore it in half. The picture wasn't blurry. It wasn't from far away. It was taken from inside my room while I slept. The locks, the chair under the knob, none of it mattered. He had been inside. I dialed my parents, voice breaking as soon as Mom answered. "I can't stay here anymore. Please, please come home." She tried to calm me, her voice soft but firm. "Emily, it's probably a prank. Maybe some neighborhood kid snuck in while you weren't paying attention." "Mom, listen to me!" "He was in my room." But she was already handing the phone to Dad, who tried to reason with me. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. I didn't want to be alone another second, so I shoved the photo into my pocket and ran to my neighbor, Mrs. Callahan's house. She was in her 70s, sweet, always baking pies. When she opened the door and saw my pale face, she ushered me inside without a word. As I explained everything, she clutched her rosary tighter. "I've seen a man hanging around at night," she whispered. "Tall, wears a hood. Thought he was just some drifter, but maybe." My stomach turned. "Did you call the police?" She shook her head. "Cops don't care about this neighborhood, sweetheart. You have to protect yourself." Her words made me colder than the October wind outside. I lasted only a few hours at her place before guilt pulled me back to my house. What if I left and he destroyed everything inside? What if he came back and waited? The moment I walked through the door, the air felt wrong, heavy. My phone buzzed again. "Unknown, you ran." That wasn't nice. My chest tightened. I looked around the living room, half expecting him to step out from behind the curtains. Me, leave me alone. Unknown. But we're just getting started. And then, seconds later, another message came through. Not a text. A photo. It was the outside of Mrs. Callahan's house, taken just minutes ago. I bolted the door, locked every window, and grabbed the kitchen knife. I didn't care if I sounded crazy anymore. I called 911 again, shouting into the phone, "He's watching me. He's watching my neighbor's house right now." They promised to send someone, but my gut told me it wouldn't matter, because the house was already betraying me again. The lights flickered, the fridge groaned back to life, and the power returned, but the relief never came, because when the lamps blinked on, I saw something carved into my living room wall in jagged letters. "I'm ALE80YNSID. I stumbled back, knife clattering to the floor. That's when I heard the upstairs floorboard creak. My body moved on autopilot. I grabbed the knife, backed toward the door, and tried to steady my breath. The silence pressed down like a suffocating blanket. Step, step, slow, deliberate, coming down the stairs. "Get out!" I screamed, my voice cracking. "I called the cops! They're on their way!" But there was no answer, just the sound of breathing, low, steady, and then, finally, he appeared. At first, all I saw was the hood, black, drawn tight around his face, then his smile. A pale slash of teeth in the shadows. He didn't run. He didn't lunge. He just stood there, one foot on the bottom step, head tilted the same way he had looked at me from the porch, like I was prey. I raised the knife with both hands. "I swear, I'll kill you if you come closer." His smile widened, and then to my horror, he whispered my name. Emily. Before I could react, there was a pounding on the front door. "Police! Open up!" I spun around, relief flooding through me. But when I turned back toward the stairs, he was gone. The officers searched again. Every room, every closet, even the attic. Nothing. Not even footprints this time. Just me, shaking in the corner, clutching the knife like a lifeline. "Miss, maybe you need to stay somewhere else for a few nights," one officer suggested gently. I almost agreed. Almost. But when I thought about leaving, I remembered the photo. He had followed me to Mrs. Callahan's house. He'd follow me anywhere. I was safer here. Or at least that's what I told myself. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I sat on the couch, knife in my lap, phone gripped tight in my hand. Midnight crawled past, then one, then two. Just when my eyelids began to droop, the phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a text. It was a video. With trembling fingers, I opened it. The footage was shaky, but clear enough. It was me, sitting on the couch, holding the knife, staring at my phone, the exact position I was in right now. The video cut off after a few seconds, and then came the text, "Unknown, don't look behind you." My fingers locked around the phone as if it were the only thing tethering me to reality. Don't look behind you. Every nerve in my body screamed to run, but my muscles refused to obey. My breath came in sharp, shallow gasps as sweat beaded across my forehead. Slowly, against my better judgment, I turned. Nothing. The living room was exactly as it had been on the coffee table. The lamp, the front door bolted shut. The only sound was the pounding of my own heartbeat in my ears. But the relief didn't come. Because even though no one was there, I could feel him. That same heavy presence pressing down on the air, like the house itself was holding its breath. Another buzz in my hand. Unknown. You shouldn't have looked. My stomach dropped. I wanted to throw the phone away, but I couldn't let go. Then the lamp beside me flickered. Once. Twice. Then off. The screen of my phone dimmed, the battery icon flashing red. And that's when I saw it, the reflection in the black glass. Behind me, a tall figure in the hood, standing so close that if I reached back, I could have touched him. I screamed and spun around, knife raised. The room was empty. My mind fractured. Reality bent around me. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the coffee table. The air felt heavier, darker. Another vibration, another text. Unknown, stop fighting. It's easier if you let me in. Let him in. He was already inside. He had always been inside. The front door rattled violently, making me jump. Someone was pounding from the outside this time.
Emily, it's us! Open up!
My parents' voices. Relief exploded in my chest. I fumbled with the locks, tears streaming down my face. I yanked the door open. The porch was empty. No car in the driveway. No voices, just the still night air. I backed away, every hair on my body standing on end. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown. Did you really think they'd come back for me? I dropped the knife. My hands shook too badly to hold it anymore. I wanted it all to stop. The fear, the waiting, the torment. I whispered into the dark, "What do you want from me?" The answer came, not through my phone this time, but from directly behind me. The voice was low, distorted, almost inhuman. I spun, and for the first time I saw his face, or at least what was left of it. Skin pale and stretched too tight, eyes nothing but dark hollows, mouth wide with that same impossible grin. His hood slipped back, and I realized he wasn't a man at all, or maybe he used to be once. I staggered back. "You're not real?" He tilted his head again, that mockery of curiosity. "Then why can you hear me breathe?" The sound hit me, wet, rattling inches from my ear. Something inside me snapped. I lunged for the knife, slashing wildly through the air. He didn't flinch. The blade passed right through him, like smoke. He leaned close, his cold breath brushing my skin. "You've been so much fun, Emily, but playtime's over." And then the world went dark. I woke to sirens. 2 officers stood in my living room, shining flashlights. My parents were beside them, pale with terror. "Emily," my mom whispered, tears on her cheeks. I sat up, dazed, the knife still in my hand. The wall across from me was smeared with scratches, jagged and frantic, like someone had clawed at it for hours. But the phone was gone. No texts, no photos, nothing. The cops asked questions I couldn't answer. My parents held me like they were afraid I'd vanish. And through it all, I couldn't stop thinking one thing. Was it real? That night, back in my aunt's house, where they forced me to stay, I tried to convince myself it was over. Just paranoia, just a breakdown, just my mind unraveling. I almost believed it, until my new phone buzzed on the nightstand, a notification from an unknown number. Unknown, nice try, Emily. Did you really think moving houses would stop me? Attached was a photo, me sleeping in my aunt's bed. I didn't sleep after that. How could I, knowing he had followed me here? My aunt's house was supposed to be safe. Different neighborhood, different locks, different walls, but the same shadow seeped through every corner. The photo on my new phone wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a prank. It was proof. He was still here. The days blurred together. My aunt tried to distract me with errands, cooking, even church visits. But everywhere I went, I felt the weight of eyes on me. At the grocery store, a hooded man lingered too long by the dairy aisle. At the gas station, I caught a reflection in the window that vanished when I turned. At night, the scratching started again, this time under my bed. I told myself, he can't follow me everywhere. He's not real. He's not real. But then the texts returned. Unknown, your aunt can't protect you. Unknown, stop pretending you don't miss me. Each message came at exactly 3:03 a.m. The precision was worse than randomness, like it was timed, measured, personal. One night, desperate, I switched off my phone and tossed it into the dresser drawer. I thought silence might save me, but silence was worse, because just after 3 a.m., I woke to breathing, not my aunt's gentle snore down the hall, not my own shaky inhale, breathing right above me. I froze, every muscle locking. The air grew damp, heavy, and something cold brushed against my cheek. My eyes shot open. No one. Just my dark room, my still dresser, my phone glowing faintly inside the drawer. The screen lit up by itself. And there, across the glass, in big white letters was a new message, even though I'd shut the phone off. Unknown Z, you look so pretty when you're scared. The next morning, I begged my parents to believe me. My dad rubbed his forehead, frustration sharp in his eyes. Emily, this is trauma. You're stressed, you're exhausted. You need therapy, not more panic.
It's not in my head!
I screamed.
He was in my room again. Here at Aunt's house!
He's not stopping. Don't you get it? My mother's voice was softer, almost pleading. Honey, sometimes when our minds are under pressure, we create monsters. But they're only as strong as we let them be. Her words cut deep because part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to lock this all away under the label of mental breakdown. But then I remembered the photo, the Polaroid taped to my bedroom door, the carved message on the wall, the sound of his whisper in the dark. Those weren't hallucinations. By the end of the week, my aunt insisted I stay in the guest room upstairs, the one with no windows. He can't watch you if he can't see you, she said, clutching her rosary-like armor. It sounded safe in theory, but that night, as the door clicked shut and the lock slid into place, I realized the truth. I wasn't protecting myself from him. I was locking myself in with him. The scratching began at 2058. Earlier than usual, I sat rigid on the bed, knife clutched tight in my lap. By 3:03, the sound wasn't scratching anymore. It was knocking, soft, patient, at the inside of the door. Knock, knock. I held my breath. My aunt's footsteps never came. No one else in the house stirred. Just me, the knife, and the steady knocks. I whispered to myself, he can't hurt me if I don't open the door. He can't. Buzz. My phone lit up on the nightstand. Unknown, why don't you let me in, Emily? The knocks grew louder. Bang, bang! I jumped up, knife raised, staring at the door. The handle rattled violently, as if someone on the other side was trying to rip it off. Then silence. I waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. My grip on the knife loosened just enough for my hand to ache. I thought it was over, until I heard his voice. Not from the hallway. From inside the room. You locked the wrong door. The light bulb overhead burst, plunging the room into black. I screamed, slashing blindly through the dark. My knife met nothing but air. His laughter filled the space, low, guttural, like a broken tape recorder. The phone buzzed again, glowing like a beacon on the nightstand. I lunged for it, desperate for any light, any proof I wasn't alone. Another photo waited for me. It was me, right now, knife raised, eyes wide, terrified, taken from only a few feet away. I dropped the phone, sobs tearing through me. "Police," I whispered into the dark.
What do you want?
"Why me?" For the first time, he answered without distortion. Clear, sharp. "Because you're home alone, and you always will be." The next morning, my aunt found me collapsed against the wall, the phone dead beside me, the knife still clutched in my hand. She tried to convince me it was exhaustion, stress, paranoia. But I saw her face when she picked up the phone. She saw the photos too. Weeks have passed since then. My parents pulled me out of school, sent me to a therapist, filled my days with distractions. Everyone keeps saying the same things. "He's not real. You're safe. It's all in your head." And maybe I'd believe them if not for the texts. They still come every night. New phone, new number, it doesn't matter. 3 a.m., like clockwork. Unknown, don't forget Emily. Locks, don't keep me out. Unknown, I'm already inside. Sometimes I wonder if this is what he wanted all along, not to kill me, but to own me, to turn my life into his playground. He doesn't need to break in anymore, because he's in my thoughts, in my fears, in every dark corner where silence waits to swallow me. And deep down, I know the truth. I'll never really be alone again.